You have it on?
Okay. So, Gina, can you hear me now? I'm so glad you said something. We've been talking for 5 minutes, Mom,
Okay.
and nobody can hear, so we're going to have
Oh,
to start
all
over.
right. All
Gina, can you hear me now? I hope you can hear me now. My Lord, Mama. My bad, my bad, my bad. Okay. So I was saying, welcome. This is Radiant Rap, where we talk about everything that I feel we need to be, things that we need to be healthy and whole. The Radiant is an acronym for rest, activity awareness, diet, introspection, note taking, and training. And yay! Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Quincy. Hi, Steve. Okay, great. And so I thought because for Sunday is Father's Day, that we should have a conversation with Queen Motha, because I'm here in Jersey with Mommy, about our relationships, specifically with the men and fathers of our in our lives, right? Um, and honor them a bit, because mothers get all the hype on Mother's Day,
Yeah,
right? But
that's right. They
dads,
do.
not so much. So the first question is a really hard question because, um, Mommy, what if you, as a daughter, you didn't have a good relationship, or you don't have a good relationship with your father,
Mhm.
and or you don't have a good relationship with the father of your children?
Mhm.
What is number one response that you would say to that woman? And I'm sorry if that is the case, but what would you say? What would you want to say to her?
Well, I would first would say
And
we all have a father, a heavenly
oh,
father that we can turn to. And that's where
mother.
we learn to love through our heavenly father. It's not easy. Sometimes we as women don't understand. We have uh, problems. The man has problems. We don't understand him. He doesn't understand us. And it causes a lot of confusion.
But the Heavenly Father
But
that can help us.
Heavenly Father can help us figure it out one way or the other. But we have to take time to really, really think and concentrate and pray about it, and then have a conversation with each other to find out what the problem is. And
Okay.
it could be me or it could be him.
And
And
that's
it's
right.
usually
And
both of us.
Mom, let me just say this too. Yeah, that is good, right? Reverend. So, Mom, that's Reverend Quincy, Mommy.
Oh, I.
So, Mom was married to my dad for 29 years. I said it when we were mute, right? When you couldn't hear us. So now you can hear it. And then she's married to my bonus dad, Poppy, for 31 years, right? Now you do the math now, and I've been married almost 34 years. So together we have like almost 100 years, okay? About 90 years of marriage. So that she's speaking from some experience, okay?
Mhm,
And my mom was adopted too,
mhm.
and adored
Yeah, I had
Pop James, right?
my adoptive father was a very loving father, so I lucked out there. Very seldom was it a fact that we always basically got along. In fact, my
That's a
father
blessing.
got in trouble with my mother for being so strict with me half the time. So I had an adopted family, and I still had a
And
blood father whom
maternal,
I had not
paternal.
learned to know yet.
Mm-hmm. And so then again, Mom, your heavenly Father had to have helped you with these
Figure it out.
relationships,
Hmm.
because growing up, I mean, Mommy, growing up, I never felt a sense of you not loving I didn't even know. I didn't even have a distinction. Of course, your paternal father, he passed when you found out that
I
he was
was
your father,
adult.
so I
I
didn't
was
get to know
grown.
him.
Hmm.
But we know that family now. We've
Hmm.
grown to and love and adore that family. So
Hmm.
my mom has always been just like a pillar of love, like for real, for real. And so that has helped, I think, me with my relationships too. So Mom, let me ask you this then. If okay, so we have the Heavenly Father, right?
Mhm.
And if we don't have this earthly father, is it, what do you think that God will give us a father
Father
figure?
figure. A father figure
Do you think
is
he
given to us by our Heavenly Father in many ways.
Mhm.
It could be a teacher, could be an uncle, neighbor, or friend, or someone that you have met in the Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts. And there's a lot of people who are looking to enjoy and love children, and there are men who are qualified and will help other children.
It takes a
It
village, huh,
takes a
Mom?
village.
It takes a
Like
village.
on this street, I'm sitting on this porch here. This whole entire street, our neighbors helped raise each other's children.
Oh, that's the truth.
And it
Couldn't
was
get away with nothing
powerful.
around this place.
You
Couldn't
went
get
up,
away with nothing.
you went up the street, you were bad girl. You go home right now
Oh
to
my
your mom.
gosh.
You didn't pull off anything.
No.
But we grew up to all love one another. And
Mhm.
we were a big family on the street. And you
So
don't see that much anymore, I don't think, too much. Some places you may. Some places you
it
may.
can, it's still
It's
there.
possible.
Matter of
It's
fact, it's still
possible.
there. So there could be a lot of reasons, that you as a mom,
Mhm.
your dad, the father of your children, is just not there,
Right.
or he, I mean, may have passed away. He could be
Mhm.
incarcerated, just missing in action,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
So, like you're saying, it could be the village that helps, and that reminds me of a picture that I saw recently on Facebook. It just warmed my heart, Mom.
Mhm.
One of the single moms
Mhm.
at our church has done a fine job raising
Mhm.
her boys, and one was graduating,
Mhm.
and there were men from the church at his graduation.
Oh,
And
that
that's
is
just to
beautiful.
see that, you know what
Beautiful.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that one person does it all.
Mhm.
And of course, Mom, we're not saying to be taken advantage of,
No,
to
no,
right,
no.
to
Mhm.
you have to have boundaries, of course. You have
Mhm.
to have discernment.
Discernment. That's
And
right.
of course, Jill, who's a psychologist, would all also, if she were here, say,
Mhm.
okay, hold up.
Right.
If you're dating, you just don't be trusting dudes to be
No.
around your
No.
children, right? I
Mm-mm.
would never, right,
No.
just trust a man
Mm.
just to be around my children. I
Right.
just would not. So that's not what we're saying, but that's another with the
That's another
relationship
with the Heavenly Father. He'll give you discernment. You may meet a nice gentleman who the Lord is placing in your life, and it may be for the better, but you just don't jump right into it. You pray about it. You be friends for a while. Make sure that you are aware of everything, and listen to what he's saying, because sometimes something will prick your heart and may give you a warning if it's not right. But there are
we ignore
many
it a lot of
a lot
times.
of times we will ignore it.
We'll
That's
ignore it.
true. And you have to be careful of that. But usually a lot of people will say, well, men can't raise a kid by themselves, but there have been some terrific fathers that have done
For
just
sure.
that.
For
And
sure. And
I
are
have
doing
a
it.
ex-brother-in-law who raised his girls when the mother died. She was very loving. Carolyn was a beautiful person. And Ernie, his name is Ernest, and he's done a marvelous job
He
raising
really
his
has.
children, and he's a grandpop now, and they're very happy. So it's
And Mr.
possible.
Stanley,
And
he did a good job.
sometimes, and yeah, sure, may next across the street raised a daughter all by himself from a little baby.
Mhm.
So we do have to remember there are honorable men out here.
Right.
We just can't. You just can't rush and go into anything without discernment and praying to our Heavenly Father. That's the key.
Now, what about? That's real good, Mom. What about? Okay, there are women that. Okay, first of all, we all like the guy at some point. Most of
Oh, yeah.
most of us, 99% of the time, right? You like the guy that you had the kid with at some point, but we kind of we can forget about that. And even in a relationship, like, I have to admit that yes, it'll be 34 years. I'm not always spoken life into the my husband, the children, my children's father's life, to speak life. So I am still a work in progress with that, not just looking at the at his faults, right, but really focusing on the things that he is doing that is
That's
right
positive
and good and positive. And we need to do that with our children, with our spouses, with their fathers, whether we're living with them or not. I know when you and dad, and my dad was a piece of work back in the day, but my mom never spoke bad about my dad.
And even after,
okay, so
I was getting ready to say, things happen between couples, and sometimes you just can't make it, and you don't want to be fighting and arguing in front of the children all the time. And sometimes you just have to end up going separate ways. Never thinking that you would have to do it, but sometimes you have to. I'm not saying you should never be a stepping stone for anybody,
right?
But remember that we have our faults just like they have their faults. But I will tell you that the thing you must learn: don't speak bad about their father in front of them, because most of the problems between you and him, it has nothing to do with the children. Most of the men love their children. Most of them. There might be some that don't. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the majority of time that problem is between you and him to straighten out. And don't bring the kids in. Don't. I've never ever spoke of anything wrong in front of my children about my husband. No. Whatever happened. Never. They never heard me do that.
Never. Do that. And so as kids, we don't know the difference. You know, as a kid, I wanted her to speak bad about him. But as an adult, I have so much respect for my mom for not doing that, you know. And so you recognize those things as an adult. So what if mom, I mean, there's just issues there, either as the daughter, you know, with that relationship, or with as a mother with the father relationship with the father. So what do you say that you would do if you needed
to the
some
daughter
help?
I would say, try to weigh things out. I'm not saying you have to be around them all the time, and then always just, if you don't get along with them, you just try to respect him, because he is your father. Your heavenly father chose him to be your father. That's so true. We have no say about who's going to be the parent of someone. So you just show respect when you do see them. Sometimes once in a while call them, because you know, when you show love to somebody, eventually something will trigger off. It may be 100 years from now, but you never want anything to happen to that father or that daughter where they were not speaking, not talking, and just totally almost hating one another. Right. You would inside you won't get over it. Right. So it's not worth their energy. It's not worth your energy to waste that. Right. So just once in a while, even if you send a card, let's say, "Hey, Dad," or Dad, or whatever you want to call him, or Mr. John, that's just showing respect. So, and that's what the 10 Commandments ask us to do: honor thy father and mother. It doesn't say only when they're good. It didn't say that. It didn't say only when they love us. It didn't say that either, did it? It said, honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days shall be long.
Awesome, Mom. Awesome. Preach now, Deaconess Mother. So, yeah, when you're saying we don't pick who our parent is, but for our children, we do often pick the fathers. Yes. So, if we need help, it's okay to go seek help.
Yes,
we say that. So it's okay to seek help. And then the last point that I and I think what you're saying too, Mom, is we should be working on ourselves all the time, so that we can become better people, not bitter, not angry, and just working on ourselves so that we can be calm and deal with whatever boundaries we need to put in place, whatever we need to do, take care of professionally, but doing what's best for our children.
That's it.
And being the best model for our children.
And it's not easy. It's a process. It's when you're going through a difficult time and you're having a difficult time with the father of your children, or your husband, whoever. It's a very difficult time, and you just have to sort of check yourself too, which sometimes when we're young we don't do, because I didn't do that. I didn't find my faults till later. But I'm just saying, you just have to really weigh everything out. But remember, your children are listening. They pick up the vibes from you, and if you're full of hate, those kids are going to be full of hate.
That's true. And so, real quick before we go, I do want to share this, Mom, that Kevin is great with the kids, right?
I know that,
right? Yeah. He's so good. But for me, when I left my corporate job and stayed home with the kids, I got into this thing where I didn't feel like he was appreciating my role, right? And I was looking at his role and glamorizing, because he was traveling and right? So that made us not work as a team, because I'm being resentful about his role. He was probably being resentful about mine. And that's where we struggle. And so as I started talking to my mom, right? Being around people that would speak life to me, right? To help me to be a better person, working on myself, that helped me with my relationship with my husband. So your circle of friends, your circle, your community is going to make a huge difference on your attitude and how you respond. So I would say, lastly, to be very careful and have discernment with not only who you have, the man that you choose, but who you have around you supporting you. Mom, this is Mr. Steve. This is G's. I think you meant George and Rebecca. That's Rebecca's dad. Okay. So let me see what he says. Grace is a godly component family has to give each other to keep the unity in the bond of peace. That's for kids to parents and vice versa. And so Steve has at least 3, I think 4 kids, a bunch of grandkids. And so he's been married. Steve, how long have you been married? A long time. So yeah, he's got 2 daughters. Okay. I know that, right? And his wife. So Steve got something to say about it too. And one thing I also want to share is if I had really been thinking, I would have this morning when I put this up would have said, if there were topics or subjects or things that you wanted us to talk about, let's talk about it. See, Steve's been married a couple years more than me, 36 years.
Oh, very
Steve
good.
has been married.
Yeah.
All right. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So between the 4 of us, that's well over 120 years. Between the 3 of us. Okay. So that's all, Mom, that I wanted to say. Did you have anything you wanted to say to wrap up?
No, I just want to wrap up with all the men that are on, or whoever looks at this video, the gentlemen, I wish you all a very happy Father's Day, and God bless each and every one of you.
God bless you. Remember the Heavenly Father first. Remember that God will give you a father figure if that is necessary, to make sure that you have discernment, to not be afraid to get professional help if you need it, and work on yourself, your own personal development. Happy Father's Day, dads. Love you, Mommy.
Love you
Thank
too.
you. Bye.